Click.
Hey, this is American Lonsdale fan, and here's a question. Why the hell did I purchase this? This is, of course, the Earl, as manufactured by North American Arms out of Utah, in 22 mag, single action revolver, 5-shot. So why did I purchase this? Well, number one, why the hell not? I mean, look at this thing. It's so darn cute. All right, second reason. Second reason I purchased this is plain and simple, or this is how it started out. Unfortunately, I live in a state that has an official state handgun safety roster. What that means is any handgun approved for sale in this state must in fact pass the state regulation of being deemed safe, and thus it can be on the state's roster approved for sale. Anyway, needless to say, the list is very cost prohibitive for most of the manufacturers out there. It becomes more and more expensive as the state starts to put more and more demands on these handguns. The roster is definitely not growing, it's shrinking. There are a couple of pending lawsuits that are suing the state, deeming the roster to be unconstitutional. Let's hope and pray that something comes of it. But if something does come of it, by that time my wife and I will be out of this state and looking to live somewhere else. But still, in my state's penal code, there is a list of exemptions for the safe handgun or approved state roster list. Basically, if a handgun meets certain dimensions, then it's deemed to be exempt. Most of them were meant for historic firearms and things like that, but the dimensions were based on measurements. And in looking at because I look at the penal code all the time, unfortunately, being a lawful gun owner, and I happened to notice that this thing met the dimensions for being exempt. I know for a fact that the local state DOJ never intended for this thing to be exempt, but it just so happened that way. In fact, when I went to order one from a local gun store, a representative from the LLC and I both contacted the state DOJ, Department of Justice. And the DOJ's official answer was, well, no, this is not really exempt, but it's not illegal. Basically what they said is they didn't want to put their stamp of approval on this thing, but they were essentially also telling us that it is in compliance of the law. Well, that sold me right there. Their answer basically made me want this more. It's like, hey, if it pisses you off that I'm purchasing something that you don't approve of, but it's not illegal, you damn sure I'm going to buy it. Because unfortunately, with my state, or my current state I should say, any chance to piss them off and their government just makes me happy. So I went ahead and purchased this. I knew I was not going to shoot it a lot. Let's be honest, it's more of a novelty. But as the video footage shows, I went out, took it to the range for the first time. This thing is fun to shoot. I don't know why. It just is just a barrel of laughs. So, a couple things. You're not going to shoot it very often because, especially with CCI 22 mags, this cylinder gets really hot. And if you know anything about both North American Arms, all their revolvers, you have to actually pop this cylinder out in order to load and unload it. And with that, the cylinder was just getting hot each time, popping the shells out. It was getting hot to the touch. Nothing that the firearm can't handle, but it does get a little hot. No recoil whatsoever. It almost felt more comfortable to shoot this thing single-handedly than do any kind of two-handed grip. I was always concerned about bringing my finger a little too close to the end of the cylinder where I was probably going to get a flash. So found it easier just to shoot single-handed. Little notice is because of the trigger, it pulls down this way. You will notice that it doesn't pull straight back, so it can kind of bring your aim a little off. So you just have to make sure you grip and just tap and press the trigger rather than do a standard pull. Like I said, minor, not a deal breaker. This is just a really cool, real fun, real cute gun. It was fun to shoot. So that's the reason I bought it. Oh, one more reason I bought it is I was always a fan of the 1950s Western movie directed by John Sturges, and it starred Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas, and it's called The Gunfight at the OK Corral. Not a very historically accurate movie, but a fun movie if you like old westerns. Kirk Douglas, of course, plays the role of Doc Holliday, and in that movie, Doc Holliday's weapon of choice is kind of a cut down cartridge version of a Remington 1858 black powder, which is kind of odd, but of course that's Hollywood. So I always thought it was kind of cool is if you kind of had a cut down cartridge version of that gun. I used to shoot black powder, and I still own my Remington 1858 black powder gun, and I always liked it, and I always thought it would be kind of cool to have a cut down cartridge version of it. So well, that's kind of what this is. So kind of a Kirk Douglas Doc Holliday gun, if you will. Anyway, so those are three reasons why I bought this. Why the hell not? Piss off my state DOJ and Doc Holliday, Kirk Douglas. Anyway, that's all I got. Hope you enjoyed the video. Click like and subscribe, and God bless you and those you love.